Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I am joined by my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
So, today we're going to be basically giving a more broad reaction to the whole Jordan Howard situation, along with talking about some possible replacements for him in Chicago. So, if you do want all NFL draft coverage, all the rest of free agency coverage, all Bears coverage, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel. We've almost been on here for a year now. We're getting close to 300 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe and like this video. And let's get right into it. Now, if you watched a couple days ago, you saw Jaylen's reaction to that trade. It was only about a 2.5 minute long video, and we knew we wanted to get something longer out about that because obviously Jordan Howard's someone who is very prevalent in Chicago over the past 3 seasons. More so with John Fox, obviously, now coming to the trade when Nagy came in. But I want to hear from you, and then I'll share Parth. What was your reaction to that trade? We already know, if you haven't watched the video, it's in the description for Jaylen's reaction. But Parth, what did you think when this went down?
I wasn't as sad as everyone else. To me, Jordan Howard really wasn't a part of this offense, despite even having 950 yards. I feel like he didn't do as well as I expected him to do, especially with 250 carries. You at least expect a 1,000-yard rusher out of Jordan Howard, and he didn't get there, which was disappointing. Many times I'd be stop handing the ball off to him. It's just I'd rather have Trubisky even do a fake handoff, and I'd rather have Trubisky run the ball sometimes. But I do respect him as a player. He did have a couple great seasons, especially his rookie season and his second season. Because without him, this team would have been shit. Literally, we would have won maybe 1 or 2 games. So
yeah, totally.
He was the focal point of our offense those 2 years with John Fox. I give him a lot of props for that, but this just isn't a run-heavy offense, and we like to feature different backs. So he just wasn't our back that we could have for the future, I guess.
Yeah, I completely agree, actually, with what you just said about John Fox. When John Fox was in Chicago, it seemed like we did one thing on offense, and that was run, pass. Obviously, when Trubisky came in the middle of the season, they were trying to ease him into the offense. But at the same time, Dewell Loggins and John Fox kind of knew, hey, this is the end of our time in Chicago. So Jordan Howard was absolutely massive in that offense with John Fox. And when Nagy came in, I felt like it went from Jordan Howard being a bell cow running back who's getting a lot of carries per game to it being a committee. We saw Tariq Cohen get a ton of carries during the season this year. And it kind of was split between him and Cohen. And I think moving forward, it's going to stay the same with whoever his replacement is. But for everyone talking about us needing more than a 6th-rounder for Howard, if you look at the comp pick we would get for Howard in 2020, if he was paid, I think it was $6.5 million annually, which I'm pretty sure he won't get $6.5 million annually. It would be a 7th-round comp pick. So everyone's saying we should have gotten a 1st-rounder, a 2nd-rounder, a 3rd-rounder. Reasonably, I thought it was going to be a 4th-rounder, seeing that it's a 5th, possibly 6th-rounder. It's a little bit underwhelming, but you look at the running back market these days, and that's just how running backs are worth these days. You saw Tevin Coleman, someone who is said to be sought out for $8, $9, $10 million a year, and he just got $5 million a year from the San Francisco 49ers. So just overall, I think in the league these days, I think the value of running backs has been dropping, and I think people are a little bit underwhelmed about what we got in return for Howard, but he was bound to leave in free agency in 2020 if we kept him on the roster anyways, and we save a nice chunk of money from this. I think it's $1.5 million. So I want to ask you guys before we talk about replacements, were you fine with what we got back for Howard, looking at it full scale? Jaylen, I'll start with you.
Hell no. I was very disappointed. Jordan Howard was one of my favorite players until that came, but just that I feel like that was disrespectful towards him. He was a Pro Bowler in his rookie year, had another 1,000 yards in his second year, and to only get a 6th-round draft pick, we got a draft pick lower than what we drafted him with, and that's just crazy to me. I knew we weren't gonna get a 1st or a 2nd, but I was hoping for a 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, I thought 4th was reasonable.
A high 5th, but a 6th-round draft pick.
Well, this could be a 5th. It depends on. I think it depends on something with the Eagles' performance in 2020 or 2019.
But it's not even this year though. It's next year.
Yeah.
With that draft pick's not going to help us this year. So
yeah,
I was definitely very disappointed in what we got in return for Jordan.
Parth, what were your thoughts on what we received in this trade?
I mean, I feel like it was rushed. Honestly, I think we should explore more options.
I think we should have waited until the draft. I feel like there would be teams more needy for a running back as some started to fall off the board, and especially to see that it's a draft pick from next year, or for next year. It's like not something we can add on this year. But personally, when I look at it, I understand why we got that for him. I actually really understand why we got that for him. That's just the way that the running back market is these days, unfortunately. You saw how much money Le'Veon Bell was demanding, and you saw how much he got. So
Yeah.
that's our reaction to the entire trade. But now we're going to get into a completely new sector of it, and we're going to talk about replacements because we're going to have to move on. So basically, each of us have the option right now of choosing whether we think the Bears should draft a replacement, sign a replacement, or stick with Mike Davis at running back 1, and that's also an intriguing option that I didn't talk to you guys about before we started recording. You can also choose just to stick with Mike Davis, but Jaylen, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think should replace Jordan Howard in Chicago?
Miles Sanders, a running back from Penn State.
Yep.
If you've been paying attention to like all the combines and the Senior Bowls and pre-draft visits, one person that you've seen on the list multiple times is Miles Sanders. He was the backup to Saquon Barkley in his sophomore season or junior season.
Yep.
Last year, he was the.
All right, Parth, I'll skip to you. You can Jaylen, are you good? All right, I don't think Jaylen's good. Parth, who do you think should replace Howard in Chicago in 2019?
Well, I'm gonna first say that I'm a huge Mike Davis fan. I love how shifty he is, as big as he can be. I mean, I've been watching some tape, looking at his stats, and just I'm friends with a ton of Seahawks fans, talking to them, and they're saying that Mike Davis definitely did not get the opportunity that he deserved in Seattle. So
I think he should have started over. I get that Chris Carson's a good back. I think he might have. I think an argument can be made where he should have been the RB2 over Rashad Penny, but that's maybe not how the Seahawks viewed it. I will say, I do like the relationship a lot between Seahawks fans and Bears fans. It's pretty mutual.
Oh, yeah.
But, I like Mike Davis a lot. But didn't you say you had someone in the draft that you liked?
Yeah, I did. David Montgomery out of Iowa State.
Yeah.
He had 1,200 yards last year as a junior with 4.7 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns, and he also had around 200 yards receiving, I'm pretty sure. I feel like he does it all, and plus Nagy likes to use more than 2 or 3 backs. I mean, last year we saw Taquan Mizzle even get a couple of games where he got a ton of catches and carries. So if you want to do this 3-type back thing, it would be nice to have David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, and Mike Davis, and it would be pretty interesting to see the formations and stuff that we could create out of these 3 guys.
Yeah. Jaylen, I'm going to pass it back to you if you want to keep talking about Miles Sanders.
Yes. So before I was abruptly interrupted by my little sister, Miles Sanders is a person that I've definitely been interested in. I'm definitely interested in him now that I see Jordan Howard is officially gone. He was, like I said, he was the backup to Saquon Barkley. He's very fast. He's like 5'11". He's built. He can catch out the backfield. So a person that Nagy will want to use in his offense. So I'm gonna go with Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with someone who you wouldn't really expect. I posted about him on Instagram. If you want to see my full report about him, I'll do a little plug at @Bears News on Instagram. I just hit 2K followers. But someone I talked to both you guys about earlier, who I like a lot, is Lamar Miller of the Houston Texans. I like what he brings to the table a lot. Now, obviously, for this to happen, he would have to get cut by the Texans. The Texans owe him about $6.5 million annually in 2019. He was a 2018 Pro Bowler replacement for who's the running back from the AFC that was in it? Was one of the Patriots in it? I'm not sure. Someone pulled out, anyways. And Lamar Miller. Jeez. Did I say Lamar Jackson earlier? Lamar Miller. He got in. I like Lamar Miller a lot. I was watching his tape. I'm best friends with also a lot of Texans people on Instagram, and they're saying the situation with him is up in the air in Houston because they want to move on to Donta Foreman, who's a much younger back from University of Texas a couple years ago. Something I like about Miller a lot is just his quickness out of the backfield. I think his ability to get off the snap is incredible. And in 2017, Lamar Miller, he had 36 catches for 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was one of his best receiving yards 2 years ago. I think he could be an affordable price for the Bears, looking at how guys like Tevin Coleman went. I talked about Tevin Coleman earlier, $5 million per season. I think Lamar Miller could be a very affordable price for the Bears. Obviously, the Texans would have to move on from him for this to happen, but I like Lamar Miller a lot from Houston. So that'll pretty much do it for this episode, guys. Comment below down in the description, or comment below down in the comment section, the running back you want the Bears to bring in to replace Jordan Howard. Some of you might say Mike Davis. Some of you might say Bryce Love. There are a lot of options. The Bears have met with 10 draft prospect running backs so far. But we're going to keep you guys up to pace on this all heading into the NFL draft. And obviously there's tons of other stuff to uncover in the draft as well. We still need a third outside linebacker. Many people say we need to draft a kicker. I like Cole Tracy a lot. But we'll have all the NFL draft coverage for you guys coming up soon. So do us a favor and subscribe and like this video if you want more. That'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. You can find all of our Bears fan pages down in the description. And you can also follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at BearDown. That'll do it, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bear Down, Chicago. Peace.
Peace.